What is going on, everyone? Welcome to not even a week. It's playoffs. Yay! So we made it to playoffs. We're the top seed, and we're taking on SaltyJek. We faced him in week 8, which was a pretty good game, I would say. I think it was defined really by Kamoa sort of saying up a Clanger Soul and just sort of wiping out a large part of his team. But I think a lot of that setup was due to him not knowing that parting shot was a sound-based move or free gain soundproof, so I was able to get a free parting shot off. So this is obviously, he's going to be a lot more prepared, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So as you can see, his matchup is here. I'm just reusing the same image that I used last time, so the colors don't really mean anything this time. He really could bring any of these. The ones I expect the least are Pyukumuku and Savali Steel. Savali Steel and Pyukumuku never came in any of my mocks, so I just expect them least. I expect to guaranteed see Necrozma, Mandibuzz, Dugtrio, and probably Piloswine. Yeah, I don't know. There are just a lot of scary mons, and the ones that run through me pretty difficultly run through me. I mean, Toxtricity has a hard time existing because of Soundproof Kamoa, or just a bunch of shit outspeeding it. Dugtrio does pretty well here. It traps things like Cinderace and Barbaracle, for example. Necrozma specifically, I don't have a dark type, so any sort of stored power or just like spec psychic move could do really, really well against my team. Terrakion, good mon. Hippowdon was pretty effectively able to wall it this time, but if he's able to get a Swords Dance off at the right moment or something along those lines, or is able to chip Hippowdon, it does a pretty good job. Dugtrio, like I said, can revenge a lot of things. Piloswine, very, very scary. If he leads Piloswine, I'm in a position where a lot of my stuff's getting chipped and he's getting rocks up. There's not a lot I can do about that. Poltegeist could set up, possibly. Glisspod kind of gets walled by Kamoa. I didn't think it would come last time, but it's been coming a lot more in mocks because a lot of people are using Spike Stutters against my team, and a lot of people are using its Dual Stab plus something like Aerial Ace for Kamoa. So a lot of different options, and I really don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to go straight into what the build is so you all can see. So we're here with the build against SaltyJek. As you can see, I'm leading with Hippowdon. I'm sort of gonna, as you can see by these items and things like that, I'm gonna try and correct for things I didn't account for in the last game and assume he brings again this time. So I'm bringing my Mental Herb on Hippowdon here. It means that Mandibuzz can't taunt me, and it means if he taunts me, I can get a guaranteed Toxic off on it, which would be absolutely huge. Hippowdon was mainly struggling in the last game. Hippowdon did very well in the last game. It's probably Hippowdon's best showing of the entire season. But the main struggle was that he brought Taunt on a lot of stuff, which sort of weakened Hippowdon. So instead of bringing something like Stone Edge, which I was considering, I figured Toxic was the best move. I was also considering possible Curse sets, but as you can see, I have Rocks on Barbaracle, and the ability to Whirlwind those alongside his team seems pretty effective. So just having a lot of utility options for Hippowdon here, being able to throw Toxics off, especially after things are already getting chipped by Rocks, just continue that chip for my later on mons, as you could see over here. Barbaracle is running more defensive set this week. We're running Shukaberry with Liquidation, Stealth Rock, Stone Edge, and Toxic. This HP investment guarantees I live a Piloswine's Earthquake through the Shukaberry and then live one more, which allows me to get Stealth Rock off, and then a Liquidation that'll do, 60, 70 depending on his investment if he's like really invested in attack rather than HP like he was last time. And Liquidation will do even more, and then Toxic is there to continue sort of racking up that damage on it. Barbaracle is not exactly going to be a mon that I think will last very long on my team. I think it'll probably be the first of the 6 to go down in this match, but I do think that it has a very crucial and effective role in setting up Stealth Rocks and actually pressuring his main Defogger and Mandibuzz. That was the thing, is even though he didn't get Rocks off last time, Mandibuzz is able to sort of fight back against Hippowdon, but Mandibuzz can't stand against Stealth Rocking Barbaracle, so this is pretty nice. Banded Braviary is very, very nice this time around. It does 2-hit KO Mandibuzz, even a max HP, max defense. There's nothing that switches into this. Everything with this investment through the Choice Band takes at least 50%. Mandibuzz sometimes lives, but rarely, so this is really all there is to it. Brave Bird and U-Turn are really the only two things I need. Close Combat for Piloswine if it ends up mattering, but really I'm just going to be spamming Brave Bird against him. His electric resists aren't very good. He'll be relying on things like Mandibuzz and Hippowdon, which aren't, sorry, did I say electric resist? flying resist. He'll be relying on things like Mandibuzz, and Toxtricity doesn't switch in. It takes a lot from Bandit Bravebird. Wow. And Piloswine is the other thing you might switch in, but the Bravebird still chunks. So with the HP investment, we'll be taking less recoil, and then we have to go max speed because of the Necrozma. We want to be able to outspeed that if that's max speed. Shout out for JacubAsAlways to coming up with this Komodo set. Honestly, shout out to JacubAsAlways for coming up for most of these sets, but for helping me out in general for this game. But Komodo particularly is very, very cool this game. As long as I can get hazards up with Barbaracle, being able to Dragon Tail things with this Komodo, the specially defensive Komodo that is a really, really effective Toxtricity check, especially, which is just really good. But the ability to bulk up in Dragon Tail is also really, really crucial. Bulking up allows me to start taking hits from Dugtrio, Terrakion, things like that. And Dragon Tail, especially if I get it while I'm asleep, it's going to put me in a position where freaking I can go for Dragon Tail first without having to worry about priority if I roll it on a Sleep Talk. That's why this set is so cool, is because if you get Dragon Tail on a Sleep Talk, then it means that it's not affected by priority. It'll just go right away. So it could just be a Mon right in front of me. I go for Dragon Tail and nothing happens that turn except that Mon taking damage, and that's crucial in a game like this. So that is Komodo, Papaya Berry to guarantee taking one from Necrozma, which is pretty big, especially if he tries to set up on me, such as like go for an Iron defense in front of me. I could just go for a Dragon Tail. If he tries to hit me with something like whatever the main move is called, I want to say Prismatic Laser, but it's definitely not that. Plasma Cannon, that's not it either. The main move that it always uses, then I'll just be able to take it, especially with my specially defensive spread, pretty effectively. I can actually take 2 if he's no investment, and go for a Dragon Tail and get it out. Cinderace is interesting this week. It's literally just Power Ball and Low Kick. I wish I had room for U-turn on this, but sadly I don't. Taunt and Super Fang is very, very important because it's going to allow me to beat a Iron Defense, Stored Power, Necrozma. I can taunt it. Stored Power is doing absolutely nothing to me, especially with the special defense investment. And then I can start going for Super Fang to chip it, which is also very good for Pyukumuku. This completely walls Pyukumuku if it tries to come in on me. Powerball basically just hits everything else. Low Kick hits the Terrakion. Shed Shell is for the Jug Trio. Out of all of these mons, the one that doesn't want to be trapped, Mimikyu and Braviary can't be trapped, but the one that really specifically doesn't want to be trapped is Cinderace. So instead of running something like Sucker Punch, Shed Shell is just really nice, so I can go and write my Braviary or into my Hippowdon if it's healthy enough. Mimikyu is the last mon. We're able to run Adamant this week with Play Rough, Shadow Sneak, Swords Dance, and Substitute. Substitute is if the Pyukumuku tries to come in and wall us with Unaware, we completely wall it back with Substitute, which is absolutely crucial. He can't counter me or anything like that because I'm a Ghost type, so being able to have sub on Mimikyu is absolutely crucial. Play Rough and Shadow Sneak hits its entire team. It only doesn't hit Toxtricity, which takes a pretty decent amount from Play Rough in the first place and will probably be chipped or not come at all. And then Swords Dance. There's really not much else to it. Hopefully the team works together. I'll see you in the replay. So we are here in the replay against SaltyJek, and a very, very interesting bring by him. I was really fearing the Pyukumuku last time, and he didn't bring it. This time he brought it, and I didn't prep as well for it this time as I did last time, so good on him. The other thing that came this time that didn't come last time is the Toxtricity, and I was kind of shocked to see this because I know that Soundproof Komodo does a very, very good job at walling this, as well as something like Mimikyu can come in on a Boom Burst or something along those lines. And a lot of my mons outspeeded as well. I can't go for Shift Gear because it's the other form, so I was kind of shocked to see it. The one mon I was stunned not to see on this build is Piloswine. I thought Piloswine had a really, really great matchup against me, and honestly, I'm sort of kicking myself for not bringing a Clangorous Soul Komodo, because Clangorous Soul Komodo just feels like it goes in this game. Maybe he had something really cool prepared for it, but really, I looked at this and I was like, wow, without Piloswine, without all these things, Clangorous Soul Komodo could have been really, really hype here, especially given he has no Dragon Resist. But besides the point, we have what we have, and that's okay. Looking at this, I was originally considering leading either Barbaracle or Braviary, and I was going to lead Braviary, just get the pivoting off, and this is in my pre-game thinking, but that was assuming that he was leading with Piloswine a lot of the time, because that's what he did last time. So this time, I'm sort of thinking to myself, all right, let's lead Hippowdon, because I feel like that's probably the best move. I did do that last time, but really his entire team struggles from Hippowdon. So I'm going to lead Hippowdon. He leads Textricity. I'm like, this is great. He shows no Air Balloon, nothing like that. I'm just going to fire it off an Earthquake. I have nothing to fear about him going into Mandibuzz and taunting me, because I have that Mental Air, but I can guarantee I get a Toxic off. So he goes for Sub, and I'm like, all right, maybe he was expecting me to switch out, fearing a Boom Burst, something like that. He has Black Sludge, all right, maybe, I don't know. He goes Sub again, and that happens, and once again, I'm sort of just saying maybe he'll go into Mandibuzz, and this time, and I'll Earthquake it, but it's fine. He'll taunt me, I'll have my Mental Herb, and I'll be able to hit it with a Toxic. He does it again, and at this point, I'm scratching my head. I'm saying, all right, something's up. So I check its move pool, and it turns out this thing gets Endeavor, and I'm like, this thing is absolutely going to go for an Endeavor. And I was really, really dumb, because I could have just gone into my Mimikyu to prevent this the whole time. But I don't. And he's able to Endeavor me here. I'm thinking way too quickly at this point in the game. I'm nervous, and I'm thinking so quickly. And honestly, what I should have just done is I should have just Earthquaked and got rid of the Toxtricity. At this point, once I realized he was Endeavor, well, first of all, what I should have gone is gone to Mimikyu, but the second best option would have just been to Earthquake. Get rid of Toxtricity, it's fine, he'll come in with Dugtrio, who cares? I make the move that I should have made 3 turns ago, and I go for Whirlwind, and I get in, and the Dugtrio comes in. And I'm like, wow, I completely just wasted my Hippowdon, which walls the Terrakion, which gets a Toxic off on the Mandibuzz, which, you know, gets a Toxic off on Necrozma, Whirlwinds it if it tries to set up, comes in on Dugtrio. I've completely butchered this game from turn 5, and now I just have to watch as Hippowdon dies, and this is not a good feeling. I take about 2 minutes to just say, fuck, this is terrible, but I need to collect myself. I'm reflecting on it now, and that feeling when you could have made not just 1, but 2 vastly better plays is infuriating. I could have Whirlwinded earlier, or I could have switched in a Mimikyu on what I knew to be an Endeavor. I was afraid he would Sub again, truthfully, but truthfully I should have just Whirlwinded earlier. Once he revealed Sub once, I should have just Whirlwinded. Alas, because if he went Mandibuzz, then I could have just Whirlwinded out and it would be something else. But here we are. We're basically playing 5 to 6 at this point. I'm going to go Barbaracle, and it's actually kind of nice that I went Barbaracle here, because it's kind of me bluffing a Scarf. I mean, maybe he thought I was just Sugar Berry and wanted to switch out, but I'm just going to go for Liquidation here. Scout this damage on Pyukumuku. I don't really care if it's defensive or it's specially defensive, because it doesn't matter. He tries to go for a Mirror Coat, which is kind of weird. And then I'm able to go for a Toxic here, which I'm sure he didn't expect, but he does go for a Toxic with Zone. I guess I would rather have Barbaracle poisoned. I mean, it's really done its job at this point. Gotten Rocks off and Toxic something. The only other thing it can do is sort of take a ground move from Dugtrio and KO it back, but that's sort of unlikely. So it's sort of done its job. I'm fine with that being the one thing that gets Toxics, but he makes a great play knowing that I'm going to switch out again and Toxics again. It gets my Komodo on a timer, which is fine because I have Rest, but is going to put me in a situation where I'm forced to rest earlier than I would have liked, and is going to basically make it so I have one less bulk up on. So he goes for a counter thinking I'm just going to like Drain Punch or something, but I don't. I go for Dragon Tail, which under prioritizes counter, which is absolutely perfect, but I actually miss, which sucks. As I go for a rest here, he can't do anything to me, so he's just going to be taking toxic damage. He's going to be forced to recover here, and he definitely has to switch, and I'm just like, Sleep Talk, do me good, please. And I get bulk up, which isn't terrible, but it's not great, you know? So if he goes for Taunt, then it's fine. I could just Dragon Tail it out, which is what happens. Reveals to be weak armor, which is kind of interesting, but I respect it. As I try and Dragon Tail again on this turn, or I think I'm going to do it, but he goes for Toxic. I could have just Dragon Tailed again. I don't know. Maybe I should have. But I figured just going to Mimikyu is the better option because I didn't want him to Endeavor my Komodo down again. That would have been really bad for me. So I think he knew that, predicted, went for a Toxic. And now he's going to go for a Protect, which is pretty bad because Mimikyu is going to get even more whittled here. And sub-toxic protect Endeavor's really rough. I don't have Shadow Claw, unfortunately. I really wish I did in this moment, but I don't, and it's going to cost me a bunch of extra toxic damage. Thankfully, he doesn't protect again, which is good. I figured he wouldn't. I took a lot of time thinking about this turn, as I know he did too. But if I were to switch out and get initiative, I don't think he would have liked that. So here, because Hippowdon's gone, I have no switch into anything. So my mentality is this. Either he's going to use this opportunity to set up his Iron Defenses, his Calm Minds go for stored power. I'm going to be able to go into Cinderace, taunt him to prevent that. Or he just goes for a raw Prismatic Laser and tries to, because it goes through Mimikyu's Disguise, and then it puts me into Blaze range. So the former of those two things occurs, which is honestly less than ideal. I was hoping he would go for a set it move or something. But that's okay because I'm able to go for a Pyro Ball. And I do burn this thing, unfortunately. I don't know if it mattered because I would have just gone Barbaracle and threatened something. So I know the burn is annoying, but also I definitely calced, and I think I got a mineral. Not a mineral, but like pretty low because I was max attack on this. I know Jacob wanted me to go more bulk over attack, but I ultimately invested more in attack because I wanted to get really, really good damage on things. And it sort of became apparent through mocks that I needed to do that a little bit more. But additionally, I think it was a low roll. The burn helped a little bit, but I don't know. I think I could have just gone to Barbaracle even if he lived that and did more damage. So that's fine. I'm just going to go into Braviary here knowing that he's going to Earthquake thinking that I'm trapped, but thankfully I have the Shed Shell, and then he's going to Memento here, which is absolutely huge. Now, I stayed in knowing that I could take a Stone Edge with my investment from a Life Orb max attack, not Adamant, but there's no way he ran Adamant this game because I have a Cinderace. So, especially since he went into it like that. So I always lived one thing, and I was just going to go for U-turn and actually KO this Dugtrio back if I was able to do that. But he goes for Memento, which is beautiful for me because it means I just have an attack boost, and yay. He is going to go into Terrakion, go for the close combat, which just takes out my Barbaracle. I basically had to pick a sack, but this is actually a huge turn because I was going to say he would not have gone for close combat if he was Scarf, because Mimikyu could just do that. So intuitively that wouldn't make sense to me. If he was Scarf, it would not make sense for him to go for close combat like that. So my mindset is that he's not Scarf, and I have that in my mind, and I'm sort of going to bank on that for the rest of this game. I'm going to say, you know what, I don't think he's Scarf. If I'm Scarf, I might need to preserve something like Komodo, but I don't think he's Scarf based on that turn there. And I'm gonna deadlock in that prediction here, as I'm just going to start firing off damage against his team, go for Play Rough against Pikamuku. I could just kill it here, and I probably should have, but I actually opt to go into Komodo, worried that I don't kill and he's able to counter me. And I know that he's able to go for Necrozma here, and that's going to be really good because he's going to be able to Photon Geyser me. I have my Berry, and it turns out that I live another one as well. So I can go for the Dragon Tail here. He's going to go into Pikamuku and be forced to switch back out unless he just wants to sack his Pikamuku, and I miss my Dragon Tail, and that's huge. This would have killed the Necrozma. It would have sucked a lot. It did suck a lot because it's going to put me in a slightly more precarious position. And I do live another one, and I miss my other Dragon Tail. So this Necrozma is now alive, and it sucks. It sucks big time. And now I have to deal with that. And he goes for Protect here as I go for Shadow Sneak. Guaranteed KOs, even bold max defense. I'm just going to go for Shadow Sneak again, and he has the Cassie Berry. And I'm like, oh, I should have just Play Roughed. I was so paranoid about missing those Play Roughs that I literally just went for Shadow Sneak and didn't think about a Berry. It just didn't cross my mind. So, I was also afraid that he was possibly Scarf because he hadn't revealed Protect yet, but after he revealed Protect, I could have just gone for Play Rough. So for me, Play Rough was probably the better play there, and it sucks. I'm able to go for Low Kick here. He's going to go into Pikamuku thinking he takes any hit, but I'm going to be able to taunt this thing, and that's really good. Really, I'm banking on two things happening here. One is that I'm banking on getting a Low Kick roll against this Terrakion. If he's no investment, the roll is in my favor. If he does have investment, then the roll is not in my favor. So that's really what this comes down to. If it's Scarf, then it comes down to him landing Stone Edges, because CC doesn't kill my Braviary. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to see if he's Scarf. He goes into Terrakion. I have a 25% chance to kill, and I actually kill, which is huge. Now, I don't feel bad about getting this roll. I apologized in the post game because, it sucks. But had I not missed either of those two Dragon Tails, which is a 1% chance, a 10% chance to miss plus a 10% chance to miss, I have a 1% chance to miss both. Had I not missed those, Necrozma would have been down, and Mimikyu would have been able to KO the Terrakion because its disguise would have still been intact, with Play Rough into Shadow Sneak if need be. But that didn't happen. I didn't land the Dragon Tails. And for me to get a 25% roll, a 25% chance to kill this Terrakion in my favor, as opposed to, him getting that 1% in his favor by me missing two Dragon Tails like that, I don't feel too bad about it. The burn on Mandibuzz obviously sucked, but like I said, I don't think it mattered. I think the game would have been much different, so it's hard to say what would have happened, and he still would have needed to land a Stone Edge against Braviary with Terrakion. So a lot of luck-based things coming into play, but I think it all balanced out in the end, because, had I landed either Dragon Tail, I would have been in a much better position, but that's okay. These things happen, and we overcome them. This game was a huge lesson to me, though, especially in those opening turns. I was playing from the back the entire time, so it's important for me to recognize that and try and figure out, if something's doing something weird, it's not just because, hey, it's weird, whatever, I'll just keep doing this. I got to look and see what it could possibly be. And had I seen Endeavor or thought about Endeavor earlier, this game might have been a lot easier for me because I would have had Hippowdon intact. So that's it. We're going to move on to quarterfinals. This was the round of 16. Remember, this is a 40-person league, so playoffs is going to be much bigger here. It's a bigger bracket. So we're going to move on to the round of 8. Currently, I believe there are 4 Goat Crusaders, including myself, who have made it so far. And I believe there's like 3 more that are going to be playing still. So we could be playing a Goat Crusader next time. That would be pretty hype. Maybe we won't. We'll have to see and find out. So I'll see you all later.